Hello and welcome back to Football Kentron in the year 2022. Yay!
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year. We are back for season 2 or episode 34. We still have not decided which one we will go with, but whatever you see on your screen is what we decided. We have a lot to cover as
Democracy.
usual. Yeah, we'll vote on it later. We have a lot to cover today. There's a lot of stuff to get through because, of course, the transfer window is open, and that means a lot of disappointment and mistakes made by our players, probably. We will first
Probably.
start, usually, with how we do, which is with the news. And we will start in a different country than we normally do this time around, and that is in France. Armen, what is going on in France?
Bonjour, bonjour. Yes, in France. Okay, we got Michele Zakarian, our beloved coach. You know all about him, right? Well, he coaches Brest, and no, it's not a body part. It's an actual team in Ligue 1, the top tier league in France. They actually beat Bordeaux, which is a powerhouse, for cup round of 16, making it to cup round of 18, 8. I don't know. Thing is, he's going through in the cup. He's beating. He already beat Marseille for the league. He now beat Bordeaux for the cup. Speaking of Ligue 1, Brest is currently sitting 13th in the league with a humble but solid record of 6 games won, 7 games tied, and 7 games lost, which is solid for them.
Yeah.
For what's expected.
Considering, I mean, we talk about Armenian managers, and we tend to focus domestically because there's hardly any Armenian managers managing outside of Armenia. But I mean, this guy is like, especially at such a high level, yeah. And so, I mean, we had 2 in Kazakhstan, but I mean, this is Liga, so it's fantastic to see this, and great. And of course, we hope maybe one day he'll coach the national team. Who knows? We're not gonna. We're not gonna.
He has been asked about it actually, but he said that he's currently focusing on his club career, and he feels comfortable there, but he wants to keep developing as a club coach. So I don't see the point in rushing him if you don't want a coach that doesn't want to coach national teams.
Exactly. Yeah. And speaking of national teams, and someone who we hope.
Speaking of Nantes, because Michele Zakarian used to be a Nantes coach. Well, yes. That's not all about it.
Chadens, we have been talking about this guy for a very long time. I'm talking, of course, about Gorman Velian, who plays for Nantes in Liga. And we have some very big news coming out from him from this past week, right?
Yep, he finally made his debut. It was not in Ligue 1, but it was his professional debut for Nantes finally. It was in the win with 2-0. Nantes beat Vitre in the French Cup last weekend, was it?
Yeah.
From the time of this record, yeah. So we've got up his statistics here. He played for 15 minutes. He came on like 75th, I think. 100% pass accuracy. He got 1 shot. It was off target. 2 successful dribbles he made. 1 key pass and 3 ball recoveries. A few hours ago also, we received some news that this French journalist, he's claiming that the board wants Gol to be included heavily in the first team from now on. So he was out for a week due to COVID. Therefore, we're going to have to see after very, very soon. Very, very soon. Yes. We're going to see more of him, hopefully.
Yeah. So super exciting. We were on big time Gorman Velian watch on our Twitter account of when this guy's finally going to make his damn debut, and he did. And then
Football
he got COVID.
Kentron Future Stars, baby.
And Future Stars, exactly. I was going to say as well, Future Stars.
Yeah. He is one of our future stars. He's finally getting into the spotlight. He's only 19 years old, and he is only going to get better. And hopefully, we do see him in the March list. I don't know if we will. Ottoman seems to be of the opinion that if he gets a lot of minutes in the next couple months, which based on what this journalist is telling us, maybe.
I would say more specifically, I'm of the opinion that if he gets, I don't know, 30, 40 or more minutes, of course, the more the better, but league minutes, that's what decides, as in my assessment, from what I've gathered over the years as a Armenian national team crazy fan. League minutes is guaranteed national team call-up. Coup de France minutes, not so much.
Interestingly enough, on Reddit, I noticed some people were saying that he should join the under-21 team. But I think if you are...
I don't know how that usually works, because Gael Andonian, if you guys remember him, everyone, even in the audience, most of our audience that's old enough. Thing is, he was, if I'm not mistaken, 20 years old when he made his Armenian national team debut, and I think that if he had like 2 years of playing Armenia under 21, 2 seasons, to get used to the system, basically, to his future teammates and stuff, and to solidify his professional career, I think it would have been best for everyone. But Armenian national team seemed to be in a hurry back then to get center backs, so they called him up straight up for the senior national team. He was ready. He didn't disappoint and everything, but honestly, I don't see why he couldn't have played for both senior and under 21 national teams, because there are players that do that.
I think the issue nowadays, it wasn't like this before, because of course we would go some years without even having a competitive national team game, but everything overlaps now. As you know, with our last 2-3 months of World Cup qualifiers, we had an under 21 game the same day as the senior national team game.
That's true.
So we weren't able to make that happen. But Gael did make 23 appearances for the Armenian national team up until 2018. I think his last game he played left back against Moldova in June of 2018, and that was 4 years ago now. So that was when he was 22. He's currently 26 years old. He's playing in the National 2 Group C for Abonye.
I would say he's done, man. I don't know.
I think unless he comes back to Armenia, I still think if he plays in Armenia, he has a much better chance of being back in the national team picture than if he stays in the lower leagues in France.
Could be. I don't know. Ultimately, it's up to him, because I don't know, man. He's had opportunities.
Well, speaking of opportunities, Greece, which has been a land of opportunity lately for Armenia to pick off some talent, has some news. Ottoman, what's going on in our favorite neighbors?
In our favorite neighbor's favorite neighborhood. In Nicaea, Ionikos has our well-beloved Vasilis Bosyan, who's a defensive mid, by the way, 23 years old, as I always mention, because age ain't nothing but a number. Age is super important when it comes to football, though. Vasilis cemented his pod at Ionikos bench. He played a solid goalless second half for the cup game for Ionikos against Gevorg Kazaryan's former team Lamia. And clean sheet, baby. That's big, because Lamia played with their starters, because it was a do or die game for both of them. And Vasilis played great, man. He's basically what we need. What he does need, however, is more minutes. As I said with Gor, same case here. If he starts getting more minutes when it comes to league games, that means basically a national team call-up. He's barely short of league playtime before a national team call-up. But as I said with Gor too, he's also getting closer and closer to it. So for both of them, for both Gor in Nantes and Vasilis in Ionikos, I would say the national team call-up is looking closer and closer.
Yeah, I think if you're playing regularly in the Greek Super League, as in a position where we are clearly very weak on, I would not even hesitate to give you an opportunity. And of course we know he is very talented. He has trained with the likes of Ike. He played it for a couple of years.
Yeah,
So in the youth
and
level.
he's got his coach's trust enough to be already he earned his spot at the bench. So coach clearly trusts him. And to be fair, he's only behind Alexis Romao, who was a former Greek like Olympiacos and Ligue 1 player. So who's on the edge of retirement. So that's I imagine Vasilis is like, not to speak ill, but he should be waiting for Roma to retire, with all due respect.
Yeah.
Jump in at the first opportunity, you know?
Yes, yes. And speaking of jumping, my transition game is just on fire today. In one of the only positions that jumps a lot and uses his hands in the goalkeeping spot, of course, I'm talking about. Adam Harapetyan was named the KPL Goalkeeper of the Year of 2021. The only one left out of 4 Armenians at a Trau. Of course, there has been this mass exodus happening in Kazakhstan in terms of football, and probably in other regions as well, considering the political turmoil there right now. But Adam Harapetyan, who has had kind of a revitalization in Kazakhstan, he's been playing very well as a goalkeeper. I still don't think he should ever play for Armenia again, and my opinion is not going to change on that, because I do think we have much better domestic talents that are much younger, but I digress.
We'll elaborate on that, but yeah.
Chadens, you were going to say something?
It's how the situation is.
Yeah, it's fine. We're not short of young goalkeeping options. The only thing that needs to realistically happen is they get called up. That's all we really need.
In other areas of the pitch as well.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get there.
That's exactly. There's a lot to talk about.
Chadens, what's going on with Sako in Germany?
Sakis Adamian back to Hoffenheim trainings after having been in close contact with someone else who tested positive for COVID. Therefore, he has missed the last week of Hoffenheim training. Don't expect him to be playing until late January, especially considering his team's in sick form and suddenly third place all of a sudden this kind of thing just happened.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah. The thing is with this guy, he's just warming up bench every week in and out. At some point, he's injured. At some point, there's something, you know.
Okay, here's a question I'll pose to you guys. And I'll start with you, Chadin, since you're the one that's introducing this news piece. Would you rather have a Sako Adamian that is a bench player, let's say comes on every 15 to 20 minutes off the bench a week, for a Champions League team, or someone that plays 75 minutes that's like fighting for relegation? What would you prefer?
Yeah, but the first one at some point, either he would leave because he's always coming on from the bench, or at some point he's going to be playing if he's actually scoring all the time. So both have it's their issues. I mean,
what would your preference be?
And just sell Origi and just get this guy for Liverpool. It's simple as that.
Make the call.
I mean, bro, thing is, he's been playing 15 minutes a week only because they're not playing European competitions this season. However, they're now qualifying for next season's European competitions. And when they do, that's going to be 3 competitions for the first time for Hoffenheim in years. That means Hoffenheim will be forced to rotate much more. Basically, that will translate into everyone getting more minutes than they used to, including Sako.
Yeah. Or alternatively, if you get Champions League money, you offload your players that you're not liking, like Sako, and you buy much better strikers, which is the ultimate fear.
It could be, and then again, I don't know if you mentioned a team that's fighting for relegation, right? If he goes to, I don't know, a Bundesliga team that's ranked in the table that's sitting 14th in the in Bundesliga table, I would take that. I mean, as long as it's not one of those teams that are doomed to last place, like who was it, Arthur Danilian? We're gonna get to that. But as long as it's not one of those teams, like bottom of the table, dead bottom, I will take a Bundesliga decent team.
What about I mean, there's Stuttgart, who are in and around floating. They're sitting 15th. They're tied for 16th, which is the relegation playoff. But anyway, we'll see what happens there. It seems to me that he is just going to fight for his spot. That's what it sounds like to me. That's what it seems like to me. He had a lot of rhetoric before of wanting to leave, but I think he's changed his tune recently to he knows that he's good enough, and he also knows that he has not been playing good enough. So I think he's just going to stick around and try to make it happen.
Could be. Hopefully, man. I mean, he's so important to us.
Yeah. And speaking of important to us,
speaking of COVID,
Varazdat Haroyan tested positive for COVID, and he has not featured in the last 2 match days for Cadiz.
Our
captain. He should probably be recovered by now, or by the time you're listening to this show, and probably will be back in training. But he'll be back in training with a completely new face as manager. Because yesterday.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say that he's shaving his head or something.
No. It's kind of worse.
He does that, He does that.
I know he does that. But Sergio Gonzalez, the 45-year-old Spanish manager, has taken over reins at Cadiz. He was formerly the manager of Real Valladolid and Espanyol, and he was tasked to replace the outgoing manager. I cannot remember his name for the life of me right now. At Cadiz.
Álvaro Cervera.
There we go. Álvaro Cervera. Pronounce it correctly, Armin. And try to get Cadiz out of the relegation zone.
What's that voice? Is that your Spanish voice?
González.
That's nice. I don't judge.
Cadiz are currently sitting at 19th in La Liga. With 14 points. They have 2 wins, 8 draws, and 10 losses. Unlike, of course, Haroyan hasn't featured in 4 or 5 games, something like that, all of which have been losses. So things that kind of.
Yeah, they lost to Osasuna 2-0, man. What the hell? And then
Osasuna is 12th place currently. Yeah, I mean, he didn't even play that game. But
I mean, Cadiz, that's the thing. By the looks of it, Cadiz is going to lose with or without Pato.
Yeah. So at this point, it's looking like there may be wholesale changes in the lineup or in the style of play at Cadiz. We don't know where Haroyan fits in the grand scheme of these changes because he's been out with COVID. So
honestly, something I've picked up on lately, Pato is not the type of player that fits with the Cadiz system, because Pato is a player that likes to play with the ball, that likes to take risks with both with and without the ball, right? And that's not Cadiz. Cadiz is basically Catenaccio, Italian Catenaccio in Spain. The Cadiz sits back, puts their whole lineup kind of a bus within the box, their box, and tries to snatch a point here and there, and if by luck they end up scoring and winning a game, even better. But they're not the team to try and try and do stuff, and Vato does do stuff.
The good news is Sergio Gonzalez does not play with three at the back or with this very conservative type of play. He is a 4-2-3-1, 4-4-2 double pivot, which is what the national team plays. And he does change it up based on his opponent. I'm looking at matches that he managed in La Liga last season. In the span of 1 month, he played 4-4-2, he played 4-3-3, he played 4-1-4-1, 4-2-3-1, and 3-5-2. So he's clearly
managed Espanyol, right?
Valladolid and Espanyol.
Okay, but if Espanyol has better midfielders than Cádiz, I mean, it's not a fair comparison. He's not going to be able to play the same.
My point is that he's not the type of manager that's just gonna play the same system like how the previous manager was and just keep losing and not changing anything. So
okay, that's interesting.
It's gonna be better. It's gonna be different, hopefully. I just saw your message, shots in the group. Moving on, we have some big news coming out of Armenia.
Coming out of nowhere.
Coming out of nowhere, yeah, literally in the managerial front, and that is Ararat Yerevan manager Vardan Bichakhchyan has terminated his contract with the club. We have had little to no explanation as to why this has been done, and this is considering, he is a favorite here on Football Kentron. We tipped him to be, to lead Ararat to Conference League next season. We're actually very confident that he would be in Conference League next season. And suddenly now he's gone. There are some implications that the reasons are financial. Ararat Yerevan have been caught not paying a few players, and they currently do sit third in the league with an 8-point gap ahead of Noah. Chadens, we'll start with you. This is a big blow. What does this mean for not only the club, but for the league?
They've progressed a lot, especially from last season. They kept that good form. All of a sudden, getting this kind of big change, I don't know what's coming for them, and it's strange. I just don't understand. I understand we don't have the richest teams in the world and etc. But why would you not find ways to pay for your players, staff, and these kind of things? Like these kind of reasons. It's just these kind of reasons to let go of your consistent coaches, players. It's kind of not logical. But we don't know behind the scene. We don't know what happens. So
Yeah, what we do know is that one of the forwards, Yakuba Silu, who has scored 6 goals. Silhouette, who scored 6 goals so far this season.
He's a beast.
Actually had this humongous disagreement. It was in the middle of one of the matches. He stopped playing, and it came out that it was because he wasn't being paid. So that's where people are starting to get the, the feeling that this is maybe something financial related. Maybe Ararat just were told Bichakhchyan we can't pay you, and he was like, then, screw you guys, I'm out. But we don't know. And we probably won't know for a while at least. So,
and Ararat is getting dismantled.
Yes, which we will discuss because we do have we do have a little transfer business to attend to. Next up, and our final piece of news for this episode is a relatively large piece of news, and something that I think not only have we been implying, but we've also kind of point blank said, and Ahmed, to give him full credit on this, that this is going to happen. I'll let you speak on it, Ahmed. Go ahead.
Big things coming, baby. Said it once, said it twice. I'll say it again. Yeah, it's basically the Football Kentron article. Yours truly. We are talking about Gevorg Najarian. He confirmed talks, and I repeat, confirmed talks with the FFA to represent Armenia. He didn't expressly say he will play for us. He wants to play for us. That's what he said, and he is currently talking with the FFA. Now, What's his deal? Why does this 24-year-old defensive midfielder being brought up at Football Kentron now? We have been implying, as Adam said, we have been suspecting that he was getting frozen out at Kazakhstan. Thing is, with him, he was the standout, the protege, the wonder kid for Kazakh football when he was 17 years old. He made his Kazakh Premier League debut at that age, which is super young, when the league had players like Andrei Arshavin, Anatoly Timoshuk, every talented Armenian like Georg Ghazarian, Marco Piselli. Like the league was big. Wagner Lovi from Brazil. Well, in that same league, a 17-year-old named Georg Ghazarian made his debut. That was huge by then. And the Kazakh national team, the Kazakh Federation, wanted to save him, right? For themselves. They made him debut for the national team at age 21, if I'm not mistaken. And everything looked as if he was going to play for them, because he himself said that I'm Armenian, but Kazakhstan is my home, and I want to make I want to represent them the best, make them proud, and thank them for giving me a home. Okay, fair enough. Thing is, he stopped playing all of a sudden. He stopped getting the calls from the Kazakh national team. So that makes only one appearance for them. And all of a sudden, he started to get frozen out. He got to Astana. He got the sale to Astana and make that national team debut. And then Astana didn't want him no more. Back to Shakhtar Karaganda, another Kazakh giant, by the way. And over the years, from when he, like 3 years ago, up to date, he gradually got less and less playing time until finally this last season, he basically became a substitute. He would play 30 or less minutes per week, and of course, no national team games since he was 21. So that's when we started to suspect. And now, Georg is signed with Armenian management agency HG, rejected an extension of contract with Shakhtar Karaganda, becoming a free agent because he stated that he has gotten several better offers from abroad, not Kazakhstan, and will be making a decision soon. Now, what has transpired to us is that one of those offers comes from the Ukrainian Premier League. That, long story short, means he's coming, baby. He's coming to play for Armenia, I'm telling you.
Now, the biggest thing with Georg Nadran is a lot of people don't know him at all. They don't know how he plays. They don't know the quality of the player. They don't know his style. Can you expand a little bit more for the listeners on his style of play and why and how he fits into the national team picture? I think that'll be really helpful for the listeners.
Okay. Well, I would say he's a slightly more creative than, say, Solomon Udo, who, by the way, was his teammate. I think, at Shakhtar Karaganda before Solomon got the loan out for personal reasons. We're gonna elaborate on him too on this show. Well, Solomon and Georg were teammates, and actually were the central midfield duo for half a season, 6 months at Shakhtar Karaganda. He would be like the less offensive one, the less physical one, the more brainiac, the more that pulls the strings. He does defend when needed. He's very complete. He can play 10 too, but for Armenia, we got a lot of 10s. We got a lot of playmakers. He is a natural kind of Verratti, of course, with a less Champions League level.
Good. Yeah,
he's 24.
He's 24. He's clearly playing at a level that the rest of our central midfielders are currently playing out. So
Salomon
not
Hudo,
give
I
him a
think he's
shot?
26, right?
Hmm.
So he's 2 years younger than Salomon, and he has already had 6 or 7 years of experience at that league.
7 years of experience at that league. This is when he made his debut for Karaganda in 2015. So,
And I remember he was the next best thing for them.
mhm. Yeah, and he's played in the Conference League. He has that European experience that that we're looking for, players that are comfortable playing up against other opposition. He played in Conference League for Karaganda, so he has
Three
the
years
qualities
ago?
that we're looking for.
Yeah, 3 or 2 years ago, I'm not sure. When he started to get frozen out a little bit, he got serious interest from Polish Legia Varsavia when Legia was playing UEFA Champions League. So they were looking to reinforce their midfield. Probably not going to start him, but reinforce the mid with Kevork when he was 21. So he is a quality player that I honestly, personally, wouldn't have expected him to join us until this last 10 months when I noticed he was getting frozen out, and I was like, something happening.
Yeah. Well, that's going to wrap it up for the news, and we are going to go into the second major part of this episode, which is going to take up the remainder of the time on the show today, and that is transfers and rumors. It is January. The transfer window is now open, and there are moves being made left, right, and center. Not necessarily moves in places that we would like to see, but nevertheless, things are happening. People are moving. First, we are going to go over a couple of... What's up?
Keep the movement going.
Keep the movement going. And Chadens, let's start out with by discussing some of the loaned players. I know Armen had touched on this slightly, but we do have a couple players whose loans are over now. And what's going on with those players? Who are they? Where are they headed? What's it looking like?
Eero Vatanyan, he returns to Sochi from Punic. Sochi want to loan him out again. That's their goal. Therefore, he's going to possibly be out again. Loaning is not a very difficult process from what I've read.
So let's touch on that for a second, because Sochi, of course, purchased him from Punic. He had like a long-term injury. Then they sent him back to Punic, and Sochi, since he has been gone, is currently sitting third place in the Russian First Division. They are 31 points. They are 7 points behind first place Zenit and 5 points behind Dynamo Moskva, and they are 1 point ahead of CSKA and 2 points ahead of Egospertan Krasnodar. Do we see him fitting back in, or do you think no chance they're sending this guy out?
Yeah, no chance. I mean,
yeah, it's difficult.
He's done good at the national team and great at the APO, but he gets injured a lot. He's very injury prone, and that's not something Sochi needs, clearly. Otherwise, they wouldn't have loaned him out. I don't know. He could go anywhere. I don't know what bonds Sochi has, who they have relationships with, which clubs and leagues, but he deserves a good move.
I can tell you, I don't think he's going to be heading back to Punic, and I say that because I don't think Punic would put a goodbye Instagram post on if they thought the player was coming back. So it may be. I mean, I'm looking at their departures and where their departures have gone. A lot of players have been lower tier Russian league sides like
Russia, yeah.
Khimki, Arsenal Tula, or some second division sides. And it looks like they do have sent a couple players to other random countries like Romania and Turkey, but where it's looking very much possible that he will probably stay in Russia, but maybe go to a much lower team.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's likely that he goes to Russian second tier, but that's even though it's likely that's the least I would want for him. Even if we're talking about a Khimki would be good as long as they keep their spot at the Russian Premier League. If not, it's only half a season. He's not getting relegated with them. Why not? Or, as you said, Romania. Why not? Romania is a good league. I don't know, Poland. Something like that would be nice.
Yeah, I don't know about Khimki, man. They've signed a couple Armenians so far in David Davidian and Ashak Koryan.
Yeah.
They
Both
loaned
of them are
Koryan.
attacking midfielders.
Yeah, they loaned Koryan to second division side, and then Davidian's been playing. I mean, he's been coming off he hasn't started, but he's been coming off the bench.
I mean, Davidian is the thing is he's gotten another injury, and that's he's also very injury prone. But the last game he played for them after his injury, he did great against Krasnodar. It was only 15 minutes, but I was honestly pleasantly surprised by him. And as for Gorian, we mentioned him, I believe, last year when elaborating a little bit on him and his personal career. He seems a little like he doesn't enjoy being a professional. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's weird. One of those
he's
weird
a weird
cases.
One. Yeah. Speaking of other weird cases, Solomon Udo's loan to Atrao is over. He is shipping back to Karaganda, but he is also linked to Oktob. He left Shakhtar due to undisclosed personal reasons, so he will most likely make the move to the Kazakh heavyweights or out of Kazakhstan like every other Armenian. I personally hope he leaves Kazakhstan and maybe goes to the Ukraine like everyone else. I just think he's a quality player and he can play. He can even play in the RPL, realistically. He's more than good enough. We all know it. It's just, I think, a matter of representation at this point. Seeing as, he is a staple in the Armenian national team, I don't think RPL sides would hesitate picking up Solomon Udo. But Armin, would you happen to know what these undisclosed personal reasons are, or have any sort of context? No.
I mean, some issues have been implied and rumored, but I don't wanna push those rumors because I don't want to touch on sensitive things that haven't been discussed further.
Sure, of course.
Speaking of things like rumors that aren't sure, we're gonna talk about the Camo rumor. Jesus.
Yeah, we'll talk about that, but we'll get there. So, next up, that's all the loans that we currently have right now. But we also have a lot of free agents. January 1st signaled the end of a lot of players' contracts who chose either to not renew or the club didn't renew. I think in a lot of our own cases, in terms of Armenian players, they chose not to renew their contracts, except for one player who we'll touch on. And we'll first start with Jiran Margaryan, who, according to Ukrainian media, is about to sign with FC Veres in the UPL. Karapyan News Hub reports our star left back is already flying to join his new teammates and that the contract has already been signed. There has not been an official announcement yet, but once it gets official, Ararat Yerevan would have lost their MVP and coach in a matter of days. It's a big, we talked about Bichakhchyan obviously being a very big loss, but they're also now going to lose their cornerstone in the defense and who also contributes a lot attackingly. It's
their MVP.
It's their MVP, yeah. And this is, it seems to me like Ararat is going to maybe go a lot downhill from here, considering these two major losses.
The exodus coming out of Ararat Yerevan is a lot like, I'm sorry if this offends anyone, but it's a lot like Omicron because you're finding out more and more players are leaving the club each day. Today we found out about a couple more, Aram.
Yeah, we found out about Serge Deble, who is, of course, their star striker at Ararat Yerevan, is leaving clubs and jumping to Punic, who are the current title, we're the current European spot challengers, and also, Onman, feel free to chime in on this one. Carlos Carbonero is joining Vahan. Who is Carlos Carbonero for people that don't know?
Carlos Carbonero is a great player. I mean, attacking midfielder, something we Armenians know all about because we don't lack in that area. But if it's someone like Carlos Carbonero, then bring him in. I mean, this guy has played all over South America. From there, he went to Serie A, to Sampdoria. He played in some other random leagues, like you were mentioning, Adam. I think it was Dominican Republic or something. He's a world trotter, but the thing is, he has played a World Cup for Colombia, not even Ecuador or Venezuela. No, this guy's Colombian. They have a lot of talent, and he was at the top of that talent. And now he's coming not even to FCAA or Noah. No, he's coming to FC Vahan. That's anything can happen because it's not a done deal yet. But he's in Armenia, and that's so random.
Yeah, it is random. But we'll see what happens, what comes of it. Vahan are a mediocre side in the league, but I think Punic, with the signing of Deble, are going to be much, much, much better in front of goal, which is something that they've kind of been missing.
It's going to get interesting. I mean, but sadly, I liked the form of Vahan. I liked Ararat Yerevan a lot this last few seasons because they had a lot of Armenian talent, which they are now partly exporting abroad, which makes sense. It's what should have been done with Armenian talents.
I really want to see them in Europe next year, more progressing further in Europe. I really hope so.
But now without Bichakhchyan, without Margarian, without Deble, is that even going to happen?
It's too much. It's like too much. I think they're
all of a sudden.
Europe. Yeah, they're going to gamble for the cup because they're still alive there. But I think their league hopes to finishing third are done. I think Noah will and should, considering the transfers Noah has made, Noah will take that third spot from them.
Yeah. And continuing on the free agent spree, Kamal Hovanesyan is currently a free agent. Of course, he played for several years for Kairat Almaty in Kazakhstan, the champions, who also played in the UEFA Conference League group stage. He's supposedly linked to a couple clubs in Greece, but there have been no serious offers made. He's currently just hanging out in Armenia, enjoying his vacation, as a lot of clubs haven't really resumed play. But he's someone that it's going to be interesting, considering how frequently he plays for the national team, where he ends up. But we don't really know much.
I think that's the biggest mystery. I think the biggest mystery is why is this guy? He's not bad, but he's clearly not good enough to be Armenian national team top 10 most capped players.
Yeah, but he is, and there's nothing you can do to change that.
Don't tell me that. Don't even say that.
Let's move a little closer to your neck of the woods. We have some interest brewing in Cyprus. What player is that with, and what's going on?
Alexander Karapetyan. There are rumors that he's linked with Karmiotissa, which is a Cypriot second division team. There's also rumors that he's linked with Ethnikos Akhnas, again, but this is a first division team. They're 12th in the league.
Oh, please.
There's this room. 12th means last, by the way, because there's 12 teams only.
Doesn't matter. It's still better than second tier.
It is, which is surprising, by the way. Second tier. I don't know how how it's gonna be for him. Like you said, in terms of football, this is this kind of makes sense, kind of doesn't, because he's grown old. Okay, it's his time to not be as he used to be as a player. But again, it's weird that it's second division of Cyprus.
Exactly. I mean, second tier would end him. I mean, I love him, but I would have thought he would retire in Armenia. But Cypriot second tier, even Armenian second tier, would end his career and national team aspirations for good.
I'll give you a context. Like Ethnikos Akhna, the other team that was linked with him, is the club is it's a village, Akhna. So you get the context.
Yeah, but it's 6 more months of top tier footy.
Yeah, but I
that's
think
what matters.
regardless of whether he goes, I don't think he should be in the national team picture anymore. I think we have that.
That's another issue.
We all agree. Yeah, that's another story. We all agree on that for sure.
Yeah.
For sure, we agree on that.
I don't know. I mean, that's like the Aramada Bedian thing. I would say those two are debatable cases, like Kazarian. I don't know. I mean, of course, not
Galzarian
starters.
has played like 2 games in the past 6 months. He shouldn't be in the national team. I'd rather
that would be debatable. And
I'd rather bring in Galoyan. Much rather bring in Galoyan.
I mean, that would be a no-brainer. But the thing is, sadly, football doesn't work like that, and we all know all about that. And man, you're bringing up Galoyan, and hopefully he makes a move, man. Nothing new. No. I don't want to swear, but no fucking news. It's been like a month.
Yeah, we're patiently waiting to see what happens with him. Speaking of patiently waiting, Artur Danielian is on trial with Slovak side FC Pogroni.
This doesn't make sense, man.
Yeah, exactly. Who are currently last place in the Fortuna Liga table. He would be moving from a third place APL side to a bottom of the Slovakian league with imminent relegation. Why
this could be the dumbest move ever?
Why didn't he do a Kartashian-like transfer and just go to a Noah or something? I mean,
I don't know.
He played for Adada Armenia? Just go back to Adada Armenia. I'm sure they'll take you. It's a little weird one over there. And our last free agent, who we have already previously touched on, of course, is Gevork Najarian. As Armen said, he did get an offer from Shakhtar Karaganda, where he was gradually frozen out. However, he rejected the offer, stating that he had better offers lined up, whether he stays in Kazakhstan or goes to Ukraine, or where he ends up, we currently do not know. But what we do know is that he is repped by HG Partners, and they have some Russian connections and some Ukrainian connections. So very likely he'll probably end up in one of those 2 leagues. Now,
Ukraine, most likely Ukraine. He has stated that there are better offers, and that's why he didn't renew. So he's going to Ukraine, and once he does, he's coming, baby.
So I hope top six teams, progressing further for him as well.
Exactly. And the final step and the final category in the transfer is transfers that have already been completed, and we have some big ones to share. The first one we are going to start with is Vahan Bichakhchyan, who signed a 3.5-year contract with Pogon Shez. How do you say this?
Google Translate it.
Szczecin?
Szczecin, I guess.
Szczecin.
I guess.
Poland. The 22-year-old attacking midfielder.
Yo, we need some Polish fans out here, man.
You guys want to hear something funny? I was looking through tweets to responses of the announcement video, and some guy responded, and I found this hilarious. Some guy responded, the announcers are going to have a hard time pronouncing this last name.
I saw that.
And I was like, that's hilarious, coming from a guy whose team name is Szczecin, or with 7 consonants in a row. Anyway, the 22-year-old attacking midfielder wore the number 22 jersey in the Polish first division.
First division, second as well. They're currently second.
Yeah, they're currently second place.
That was a
4 points away.
For me.
They're 4 points behind. They are doing very well in the league. They just actually let go of a young 18-year-old talisman player and sold him to Brighton. And
he broke a record, I think, some kind of record. I don't remember what record, but he broke a record, that guy.
I think it was and they were looking for similar styled players to come and slot straight into the lineup, and Vahan Bichakhchyan was selected. Of course, he's one of the best, if not the best player in the first half of the season in the Slovakian Fortuna Liga. It's a slight upwards move because the Slovakian Polish league is slightly better in terms of coefficients. But as we all know, coefficients don't tell the entire story. One thing Slovakia is not nearly as good at as Poland is shedding light on players. A lot of players.
Yeah, there is a lot of things in this move. There's a lot of things to look at. A lot.
He's pretty much one good season performance, half a season maybe even performance from jumping to a top 5 league from the Polish league.
Yeah, so now that's going to take time. It might take time, it might not take time. He might just end up assisting and scoring and keeping his form from MSK Žilina, how he was already doing. That's why I was saying, in my eyes, it was good for him to continue. He had just recently signed a contract. It was good for him to continue his form there. He was on an insane form this season, with 15 goal contributions in 15 games, I believe, if I'm not wrong. And afterwards, he could have got again. Maybe this move could have been done by then. But again, it's not like he's dropping somewhere. It's not like Artur Danielian or anything like that. They cannot be compared.
No, I think he didn't want to lose form, as you say.
I think it also comes down to playing time. I mean, look, he's 22 years old. He was getting a lot of playing time at Žilina, and he doesn't want to lose that playing time. And it's a smart move for him.
For sure.
It's a smart move. He can slot into this team, get all the goals and assists, and then make that jump to that top 5 league that we know he is more than capable of playing at. But he wants to make that jump as a starter, not as a bench player. And I think that's
so
basically there's a lot more visibility in Poland than Slovakia.
Yeah.
So basically, hello to Polish friends.
Yeah, hello to all of our Lewandowskis.
Paschinian couldn't manage this.
Second transfer that has already concluded is about another player who has not made his debut for the Armenian national team yet, but we do suspect will be coming soon. Artur Avagimyan made the move from Choronets Odessa to FC Alexandria. He signed a 3.5-year deal, similar to Vahan, and the 25-year-old is also an attacking midfielder, just like Vahan. The Citizens have been trying to sign him for a while now, and they finally got the deal done. He was part of a signing spree of 5 players by Alexandria who are right outside of the European conversation in the Ukrainian Premier League. A lot of experts and analysts seem to think that they will very likely push for and successfully get a European spot.
Yeah, and by the way, Alexandria was right about to sign a contract. They had everything sorted out with Bedros Avedissian from, I think he's at Noah right now. This was a couple of years ago when he was at Punic, and basically they had agreed, Alexandria, the club, and Bedros, but Punic didn't want to sell the player. So now they got another Armenian attacking midfielder instead. So this is a team that clearly likes their Armenians.
Well, now the question becomes, Armen, is he going to be in the national team picture? I mean, he's playing consistently in the Ukrainian Premier League, which now suddenly we have several players that are going to be in the Ukrainian Premier League, which we had mentioned, I think, last episode or 2 episodes ago, how at one point we had a lot of players playing in Ukraine, and all these players were national team players. Where do you see him fitting in that picture? Because attacking midfield-wise, we are not short on options.
You're right.
He's a winger.
You're right. And I'm actually very, very glad that you asked this question because, as you say, the last quarter of the pitch is where we lack, where we have the most offer and where we have the most depth. That's a good thing. So Artur, much like many other players, is not necessary by all means, but on another parallel note, he is, in my opinion, good enough to fight for a starting spot, and maybe even during the, for instance, the June window, we have 4 games. He, in if everything were according to normal and by logic, which in post-Soviet world doesn't happen, but if it were to happen, a player like Artur Avagimian would perfectly be able to play 1 or 2 games from that June window starting. Now, that's not the biggest issue with Artur's case, in my opinion, because why is Artur different than the other Armenian players we got all of a sudden going left and right to Ukraine? Artur is the only one that is Ukrainian by citizenship for now. Mm-hmm. He is both Ukrainian and Armenian by citizenship, but he hasn't given up on Ukrainian citizenship yet. He is Ukrainian bound, and we are, if you don't know, in the audience, we are going to be playing Ukraine this season.
We'll see. I mean, I just don't think if we're looking at these types of talents and people that we have on the pitch that can play as a winger, in terms of depth, we have, I mean, obviously, Bichakhchyan, we have Bichakhchyan, we have Shahoyan, we have Narek Grigoryan, we have Artem Avanesyan, we have
everyone you're mentioning. Everyone you're mentioning, except maybe Galoyan, which is an exception and yet not called, so he's not within the system yet. Everyone you mentioned, Vahan, Tiko, Bichakhchyan, Vahan, Artur Avanesyan, Narek Grigoryan, for instance, those 4 play at worse leagues than Artur Avagimian, A, and B, and B. Maybe not Narek Grigoryan, that has been a breath of fresh air in a way, but actually Artem Avanesyan has played good too. But Vahan Bichakhchyan and Tiko Bichakhchyan, they have not shown this last semester. So if you were to bring in Artur Avagimian, an informed Artur Avagimian, playing at a better league, way better league than some, into this national team, he has reasons to fight for a spot. Of course, not be a non-disputed starter, but in a 4-game window, like the one coming up in June, he would start 1 and maybe even 2 games. But my assessment is, don't expect him to be called this season while we're playing Ukraine. Expect him to get used to Alexandria, hopefully playing Europe, knock on wood. And next season, I think that if he keeps this form, he's been getting gone for the last couple seasons. He's definitely getting called for the national team next season.
Okay, so he's going to be a late bloomer for us, unfortunately, because he's already 25 years old.
He has already.
He is becoming 25 in a few days.
Yeah. So
thing is, he has already bloomed. Thing is, he hasn't been given the opportunity for Armenia. Remember the Alashkert fiasco?
Yes, of course. But again, at the end of the day, for us, that's what's more important. For us, it's more important that he plays for the national team sooner rather than later. But
yeah, we'll see. But it's not because he didn't want to.
Yeah, of course. And our third and final transfer is a very big one. It's Avdisyan. He is a left back, and he can potentially help us solve a lot of issues. Now,
big statement.
Avdis is an interesting prospect because he has played for the Armenian youth national team, but he's also played for Greece, and he's played for Greece a lot more than he's played for Armenia. We don't know what he's thinking. We have no idea who he wants to play for. But seeing as he is now playing in a decent league, a very good league actually, what are the chances that he gets a call up from Greece?
Depends from the federations of both ends.
What do you mean by that?
In a serious way, I mean, who's gonna offer the first one? Who's gonna be the most appealing
Interesting
to him?
Exactly, yeah. Appealing.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Not in a serious way. Would he prefer Suvlagia, or would he prefer
kebab?
Some
Chorovat.
Khorovats, like it depends, you know.
Well,
Depends which one is appealing to him.
Well, look at it this way: if he's playing, let's just say in the next 2 years he gets first team football.
Okay.
If we're looking at the Greek depth chart for left backs, you have Tsimikas, who plays for Liverpool and who starts for Liverpool. You have Gian Lewis, who starts who starts for Norwich, and then you have Kyriakopoulos, who plays for Sassuolo.
Kyriakopoulos or something.
Yeah, who plays for Sassuolo, and then you have
Oh my God,
you have a couple of right backs who both play domestically in Greece. One plays for Olympiacos, who can probably also play left back. So
yeah, this is where you say Christemu.
Yeah, I don't know what that means, Sean. It's somebody saying.
I said, oh Jesus.
Oh Jesus Christ. Okay, and then if we're looking at the Armenian depth chart, we have at left back Girard Margarian, who we rate highly, but if you're playing for a second division Slovakian side or whatever.
No, it's Ukraine.
Second
division.
None of our left backs play in Premier League. They have two left backs who play in Premier League. I think they're pretty covered.
Yeah, so they're so covered on that front, I don't think they'll care much. Whereas if he starts to make a first team appearances in the Netherlands, Armenia should just snap him up immediately. I don't think there should be a question there.
Yeah, but then again, he's very young. He's 19 years old, and that's the factor that the Greeks may be looking into the most for a possible call-up for him. You know,
I'd rather risk a 19-year-old coming for my country rather than bring what we consider, let's say, a safe option of a 28-year-old left back, let's say, who has not played for the national team.
By the way, how old are Giannoulis, Tsimikas?
They're young. Tsimikas is not young. I'm not. He's like 26, I think.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna
Norwich
say, right?
left back is like 20.
I'll tell you right now. So Tsimikas is 25, Gian Lewis is 26, Kyriakopoulos is 25. So they're all around the same.
Okay. No, so they might have
all
a reason.
Three of these players. All three.
I just realized you said Gian Lewis.
I don't know how to say his last name. What is it?
I just
that's a 6-year.
I don't know how to pronounce it. That's a 6-year gap, but Armin, these players are going to be playing until they're in their early 30s.
Yeah,
which is easily. 5 years from now.
Yeah.
Then you're going to have 5 more years, and this guy all of a sudden nowadays is going to be playing himself in a UEFA top 5 league. So they might have a reason. Hopefully they don't call him up.
Okay. So the starting left back for the Greece under 21 national team, who you would assume this guy is going to be the next
competing with Lavidis.
Yeah. So the guy who's starting, his name is Zakritis. He plays for Parma, and he's 20 years old.
Okay, that's okay. Keep going.
Second and third on the depth chart are both PAOK players.
Okay, good. Which they didn't loan. Okay, now that's good enough reason for him to consider not playing for Greece. So I would say balance is pretty tight.
Yeah, it is.
Look,
he can. Exactly. I know what you're gonna say. I know what you're gonna say, and I agree that if he's called for the Armenian national team, he's gonna be called right away. Maybe not starting right away because there's Girard Margarian who is in sick form and playing professional footy with grown-ups for 5 years, but he will definitely fight for a starting spot in the Armenian national team, UEFA Nations League Division B, right away. So we may have our own appealing reasons, as Challenge would put it, to lure Avidis in.
Yeah, and his ponytail would be so sick with an Armenian national team shirt.
What about Go's hairstyle? If we're talking about hairstyles, we need more European hairstyles like Gor Mamelian.
Yeah. What's the center back's name? The one with the long hair?
Who?
For who?
It's we were talking about them the other day.
Bichakhchyan, not long hair, Tata Simonian hair.
Tatas, yeah, he has
Yeah,
the
Tata
mullet.
Simonian
Bro,
hair.
that's not long hair. That's cringe hair. But
Doesn't matter, man.
I'll
It looks like
judge. I
Van
like
Dyke
the guy.
hair.
I mean, look,
Yeah.
I got a little curious, and I actually started looking at our left back depth chart. In the under 21s and under 20s, it doesn't seem like we have anyone crazy.
No, but the under 19 from the elite round, that guy's good.
No,
The
we
one
have
from the Bukma.
we have Sergei Muradyan, who plays for Zenit St. Petersburg Academy right now, who is probably going to be, a decent left back. And then we have Arman
see.
Markosyan, who plays for Fiorentina.
Yeah. There's been a lot of high praise for Arman. Hopefully he joins us. Before joining us, hopefully he makes it pro. He goes pro, both of them, the one from Zenit as well, and everyone. But nothing is concrete when it comes to diaspora and young talents.
Yeah, of
So
course.
until they make their debuts, until they sign their first pro contracts, like Avedis here, until they jump and make that jump like Gorman Velian and stuff, nothing is concrete. So no senior national team debate. But I would say that a Bukma player is much more likely, because he's a starter at Bukma.
Are you
in the
talking
Armenian
about
Premier League.
Are you talking about Manukyan?
I don't know the
Is
name.
he the one that you're
by
talking
the
about?
way.
He's the left back for that.
He's the one that
starts for
played.
the-
He's the one that played that group stage against Croatia and Scotland in Gibraltar in 2021. That got us the qualifying to
for the
to
under
the league
19,
round.
under 17s.
Exactly. I really liked him, and I remember thinking, why didn't we get this kind of talent 5 years ago?
Akulian is who you're thinking.
Okay, I trust your judgment. If it's Akulian, it's Akulian. Thing is,
He plays for he's a Shirak Academy product.
okay, but he's playing Bukma.
No, he's playing Armenia under 18s.
No, I'm saying Armenia under 19 and Bukma, the one that played.
Armenia under 19. 19 is the one that made it to elite round. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Exactly.
Left back that plays
So
for.
it's not Akulian.
No, it's not. I'm looking right now. I'm trying to. Abrahamian.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's the one. I think
Ruben
that's the one.
Abrahamian. He plays. He doesn't. He plays for Urartu. He's not at
Okay.
Bekma yet. He will be.
Okay.
He plays for Urartu too.
Okay. Whoever played against Scotland and that tournament, I remember that guy was good. And
It's him.
in Armenia,
He played all 90 minutes against Scotland, Croatia, and Gibraltar.
and that's the guy.
Yeah.
That's the guy. And a guy that plays in Armenia is much more likely to get a pro contract.
That's true. Well, we'll see. He has to go the Bukma route, and we hope that Bukma stay in the league, or else this whole conversation is pointless. Well,
man,
we just discussed a lot of transfers, a lot of potential transfers, and we also discussed what this means for the national team camps, and all the prospects and everything. We're just playing 4D chess over here. How are we looking ahead of the March friendly window? What do you guys think? Tradens, we'll start with you. We're playing 2 games on the 25th and the 29th against Lithuania and Norway. How do you think it's looking? How do you think the prospects are looking? Do you think we'll see a lot of new players?
Still a little early to tell.
yeah.
In my eyes, it's still a little early. I cannot say something certain. I cannot predict anything certain.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. You guys can share your thoughts as well. Maybe I'll start thinking a little.
Tradens, Armen, what do you think? Okay, Tebi Haspanak.
No, honestly.
We better.
Honestly. No, it's a friendly. I don't care about the results, to be honest.
Yeah, but we still better.
Yeah, we should win against Lithuania and have a solid fight against Holland and Norway. But as Charlie said, it's still early. A lot of form can change for the players. There's a lot of transfers about to go down as well. But with what's happened so far is leaving me positive. It's leaving me optimistic.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, of course, we won't know. I kind of am siding a little bit more with Chavins on this. It's considering, APL still on break and and we're in the middle of the transfer window. We kind of don't know what's going to happen. But I would love to see some fresh faces. I want to see like a good. A third to a half of the squad be new players. Again, I don't care about the results. They're friendlies. I just need to know that the federation is trying to play and trying to get these good players to play for Armenia. These good young players.
Damn W, man.
Yeah. All right. So speaking of our upcoming schedule, in February, the Armenian Premier League resumes. In March, we have our men's national team friendlies on the 25th and 29th. And in April, the women's national team resumes with the World Cup qualifiers to Poland. Thank you for listening to this episode of Football Kentron. Stay tuned for some very special things next episode that will be coming out shortly. We promise. We're not going to lag. We took a nice vacation. And yeah, that's it. If there's nothing else to say, guys, thank you for joining us. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to share, like, subscribe, all that jazz, whatever social media stuff. And we'll see you guys next time.
Happy New Year. Hopefully for
Yeah.